Hi everyone, it's Jill and welcome to my new booktube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about every book that I read in 2023. This is my end of the year reading wrap up, and we'll start with the books that I read at the start of the year. So according to Goodreads, I started the year off with Verity. This one, also my dog literally bit off it. This one's a very well-known thriller by her and I thought it was good. The twist was kind of predictable. I felt like I knew what was going to happen, but I guess I would recommend it. I did rate this one 4 stars, and maybe that's because I don't really read thrillers, so I don't have much to compare to, but maybe now I would rate it like 3.5 stars. Then I read The Heartstopper. I'm just gonna put them all together, but I read, at the time there were only 4 Heartstopper books out. I really love this series so much. It's so sweet. All of the characters are really amazing and they're graphic novels, so you can read them pretty quickly. I gave all of these 5 stars. After that, I read The Song of Achilles, and I actually liked Greek mythology. I remember I had a phase growing up where I was super into it. Now I'm not so sure if I actually really like it that much, but reading this I could totally see why other people would love it, so that's why I rated it 3 stars. Then after Song of Achilles, I read Layla, which I think is my sister's, so I gave it back to her. But I really did not like that book. It was kind of a paranormal romance, but it was not, that's what it was marketed as, but it was not romantic in the slightest, and the main characters were insufferable, so I rated that 2 stars. After Layla, I read Malibu Rising. This one I had pretty high hopes for, I feel like, because so many people talked about it on TikTok, online in general, but I thought it was pretty boring, and I think I actually rated this one, let me see. Yeah, I rated it on Goodreads 3 stars, but I feel like now I would probably rate it like 2.5. And then I read In 5 Years. This one I was also disappointed with because the plot was just not romantic at all, even though it was marketed to me as a romance. Also, the main character, didn't like her. I didn't think she was very smart, which sounds really mean, but she was just making really weird decisions, so 2 stars. The next book I read here was Icebreaker. I actually read that on my phone, and I read, I feel like 60, I was almost done it, and then I just stopped reading it because it was pretty long, but I don't think it was bad at all. I definitely feel like I need to try and read that one again. I feel like I just took too long to read it, and also I discovered I don't like reading on my phone, so I didn't even want to read it on my phone. And even though I didn't finish it, I rated it 3 stars. Also for DNFs, I usually rate them because I feel like I have reasons for why I DNF them, which I know is debatable, but that's just what I do. And then it was February after that, so I read The Do-Over, which is a Valentine's Day romance. This has the Groundhog Day trope in it. Pretty repetitive after like 2 days, honestly. You're kind of like, okay, like what? Like, let's switch it up a bit. But despite that, I still thought it was pretty cute, so I rated it 3 stars. It's not groundbreaking or anything, it's just a cute YA romance. After that, I got a few books from a Blind Dates with a Book package, and this Lullaby was one of them. I used to love this author, Sarah Dessen, when I was like a teenager and in middle school and stuff. But for this book, I pretty much don't remember anything that happened in here, and I did rate it 3 stars. I feel like that's pretty generous considering it was probably pretty okay, like not amazing, but maybe now I would rate it like 2.5. And then another Blind Date with a Book, I got Paper Towns. This one I also rated 3 stars, but I don't think I would actually keep it at 3 stars. It was probably like a 2.5 as well. Looking back, I don't really think that I enjoy the trope of like, oh my gosh, this person is on a pedestal, they're so much better than me, but I'm just an ordinary boy, like she's too good for me type trope. It's just not something I would reach for, or I feel like I really would be into now. Then I read Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute. This one was very sweet. I liked both of the characters in this a lot. They were super relatable in high school, and I did rate this 4 stars, which I feel like is pretty generous. I feel like now I'd probably rate it like 3 stars, maybe 3.5, but yeah, I do recommend this one. After that, I read a few Colleen Hoover books. One of them was All Your Perfects. This one, I really liked the ending. The first half though was the main character. I personally just could not relate to her at all, but I did think the ending of this one had a good message to it, so I rated it 4 stars, and I feel like I would keep it at 4 stars. I read Heartbones after that, and I actually really liked this one. I thought it was pretty cute. There were some cute scenes that I remember reading about that I really enjoyed, and I also rated this one 4 stars. Next, I read Lunar Love. I loved this book so much. It was so sweet. There were fake dating tropes in it and Chinese culture, which was really cool to read about. And this was the author's debut novel, and she's coming out with another one in 2024, which I'm really looking forward to. I rated this one at 5 stars. And then this is an unpopular opinion, but I did not really enjoy Daisy Jones and the Six. I was super disappointed by it. I didn't really like the way it was told with the interview style, just because I felt like I couldn't connect to the characters as well, which I know is not a popular opinion at all, and so many people love this book, but for me it just didn't work. I can kind of appreciate how people would enjoy this one, but I did rate it 2 stars. Another unpopular opinion, I read Yours Truly, and I liked this romance book. I did think it was super trope heavy though. I remember there being like so many tropes thrown at once. It was kind of just a lot, but I did think there was good mental health representation in it, and it was not a bad romance, so I rated this one 3 stars. And then I read Love Theoretically, and I really liked this one. I rated it 4 stars. It was super cute, and I feel like I liked the main characters. I honestly don't remember too much about this one, but looking back, I do think I really enjoyed it at the time, so I'll keep it at 4 stars. After that, I read This Time It's Real. This is a YA romance, and I hadn't heard at the time I read this really anything about this. I just thought the cover was beautiful when I saw it in store. This one had fake dating, and it was set in high school. It was cute, but I don't think it was a standout or anything, so I rated it 3 stars. After that, I read Kingdom of the Wicked. I feel like this is one of the first fantasy romances that I read this year. It was okay. I don't really think it was that romantic though, looking back. I ended up rating this one 3 stars. After that, I read The Soulmate Equation, and I also rated this one 3 stars. I don't really think I liked the main character in this, maybe. Really? I don't really remember much about this one at all. Yeah, I don't have much to say about it. After that, I read Once Upon a Broken Heart, which I was super excited for because it was like my second fantasy romance that I read this year, and I heard really good things about it before I read it. I ended up rating it 3 stars. I think it was just a little bit slow for me. Wait, no, I think at the time I rated this one 3.75, but I'll probably bump it down to just a 3 because I just remember it was a little bit slow, and I think I maybe just wanted a little bit more romance in this one. After that, I read Life's Too Short. This one is, I think, 3 stars. I didn't like the main character. I thought she was kind of cringy and embarrassing. Whenever I talk about this book, what comes to mind is how she made videos about her hot neighbor, which he eventually sees, which is just so embarrassing to me. So yeah, 3 stars. I was really looking forward to reading Something Wilder because I haven't read, I guess I read the other Christina Lauren book this year, but I loved Love in Other Words, and then I read where even is it? The Soulmate Equation. Oh, it's literally on top. Then I read The Soulmate Equation, which I was like iffy about, but I still thought I liked this author duo a lot. But I think they're kind of hit and miss with their books because this one was just so random, and it was kind of set in the desert, I remember. Or is it called the desert? Like Yeehaw. But I also don't think this was very romantic, so I rated it 3 stars. Next is when I truly got into my fantasy romance era. So I read ACOTAR, and I love these books so much. The first one, I guess I'll go by the first one. The first one I honestly think is my favorite one. I think about it so often, and I love the characters so much. It is 100% 5 star. I feel like I will always recommend this one. And then the second one, Asimov, I also really enjoyed this one. I think I rated it 4 stars. I feel like everyone loves this one the most, but I personally think I like this maybe like the 3rd most. But of course, it's still really amazing and a great read. And then after that one is ACOWAR, 5 stars. The start is a little bit slow. It's a lot of politics and stuff like that, but the ending is just so amazing. I was honestly just blown away with this one, and I cried so much. I just really love this one. And then there is A Court of Frost and Starlight. This is a little novella, kind of Christmassy, holiday-esque, and it was cute, but I feel like there was really nothing that happened much in this one, so this one was 3 stars. Now moving on to the next pile, I read Flipped, which I read because I don't think it's even on Netflix anymore, but this is a movie and it's just so comforting and so cute. So I wanted to read the book, which it's super, like you can see, it's super short. It didn't take me long at all, but it's just so cute and sweet and I really love it. And this one is definitely 4 stars. And after that, I read Fourth Wing, which I was really excited to read because at that point I was kind of into the fantasy romance after reading those ACOTAR books. And this one, in my opinion, didn't disappoint, even though it was super hyped up. I literally enjoyed it the entire way through. I thought it was super action-packed and there was really never a dull moment. And the ending cliffhanger was just so good, I thought. So 4.5 stars for this one. And then I wasn't sure exactly when I read this because I forgot to log it at the time I picked it up, but I do remember reading this when it came out. This one's Mimi at the Lake, and I didn't read the first book by Carly Fortune because I just I wasn't really interested to read it, and I thought I would give this one a try, but I was honestly kind of disappointed in it because I just didn't really like the trope of spending the one day together and then it's 10 years later and you're still thinking about that one day. There's also other books in this one too that have that trope, which I also didn't really like, but I think I rated this one 3 stars in the end. After that, I read this cute YA romance called Borrow My Heart. I feel like I actually wanted this one because of all of the cute little animals on the front. Looking back, I feel like this one was a little bit forgettable, but I think the ending was sweet if I can kind of recall. But yeah, 3 stars. And then we have Love Buzz, which I was also kind of disappointed with. It was very similar, in my opinion, to In 5 Years. It was more focused on career, not so much the romance, but when I went into this, I did think it was going to be mostly romance, which is probably why I was disappointed in it. So this one's 3 stars because it wasn't bad, but it just wasn't living up to what I expected, I guess. Then after that, I finished the ACOTAR series. Well, it's not actually done yet, but of the books that are out, I finished it. So I read A Court of Silver Flames. This one wasn't my favorite. I feel like it was really long. I did like the main female character in the end. I thought she had a lot of growth. It just definitely wasn't my favorite of the series, which I feel like a lot of people also really like this one, but I think I rated it 3.5 stars, which is not bad at all. It's just there are other books in this series that just really spoke to me. This one was not one of them. I read another Lynn Painter book. This was better than the movies. It was a sweet and fluffy YA romance, nothing life-changing or anything, but I rated this one 3 stars. And then after that, I read The Summer of Bitter and Sweet. I remember being kind of like sad reading this. It is not lighthearted, I would say. I think it's more of a literary kind of young adult fiction, but I would recommend it, and I rated this one 3 stars. And then I read To All the Boys I've Loved Before. This movie is just one of my comfort movies. I really love it, even though it's like not amazing acting or like an amazing plot or anything like that. For whatever reason, it's just a comfort movie for me. So because of that, I really wanted to read the book, and it was pretty much what I expected, but it just wasn't as good a romance as other books that I've read, so I ended up rating it 3 stars. And then I read Beach Read. I know this book gets a lot of hype, and in general, I would say I like Emily Henry books. This one I rated 3 stars. I thought it was good, but I feel like something maybe was missing from it. Then I read Practice Makes Perfect, which I was really looking forward to because so many people hyped it up. I saw so many posts of it on Instagram, Bookstagram, and so much praise, but for me it just didn't work, which I discovered after reading this book as well as another, that I don't like the trope of practice dating. It just does not do it for me, and I DNF'd this one really with not many pages left at all, and I rated it 2 stars. The Inmate was another one of the few thrillers that I read this year, and first of all, this paper was so stark white, it kind of like hurt my eyes reading it, but that's really not a big deal at all. But also another issue in this was the ending was just so unpredictable, which was annoying to read about. I read Kingdom of the Cursed next, which was a few months after reading the first one, and this one I remember loving the start of it and the middle, but then the end fell really flat for me. So unfortunately, in my head I remember thinking it was going to be 4 stars, but at the end I ended up rating it 3 stars. By a Thread was another book that I feel like was pretty hyped up. Personally, I didn't really like the main guy character. I thought he was kind of scary. The stuff he did and that she did just didn't really seem romantic to me. Because of that, I did end up reading this one 3 stars, but it was also very long too, which I know that author Lucy Score is known for, but I could have gone without probably. This book was another DNF. I feel like I actually didn't really get too far into this one, maybe like 150 pages. So it might not make the most sense to rate this one. I did log it on Goodreads as 2 stars, but just as a warning, I didn't get very far into this one. And the reason behind that is what I was describing in Practice Makes Perfect. I don't like practice dating, which was honestly surprising to me because I feel like practice dating and fake dating kind of go hand in hand. But there is a distinction, which to me, this in Practice Makes Perfect was very distinctly practice dating and fake dating, but I just like fake dating, no practice dating, if that makes sense. I don't think I had huge expectations for The Long Game because the other book that I read by Elena Armas was The Spanish Love Deception, which I didn't really enjoy that much. I think I rated that one 3 stars. But this one was also rated 3 stars. It was okay. It was just nothing great in my opinion. The next book I read was Six of Crows, and I was really excited for this one. I did in general enjoy reading this one, but I think there was something missing for me, so I rated it 3 stars. And then I read Divine Rivals, which I honestly think this was my favorite book of 2023. It is a YA fantasy romance. It is so sweet and so cute. The main character girl and the main character guy just are so obsessed with each other. There's anonymous messages, and I guess that's called secret identity, and it's just great. I would 100% recommend this book. After that, I read The Perfect Marriage, which this one was an interesting concept, but I don't think it was executed very well in my opinion, so I rated this one at 3 stars. No, I rated it actually 2 stars, sorry. And then I read Red, White, and Royal Blue, which was pretty hyped up on TikTok way back when. But this one was also kind of long. Oh, maybe not. It was like almost 400 pages. But it was a little bit boring. I rated it 3 stars originally, but I feel like I might bump it down after thinking about it more. Maybe like 2.5 stars. And then I started the Throne of Glass series, and I started with The Assassin's Blade. This book was really good. I thought it was super interesting. It's a bunch of novellas. I really connected to and loved the main character super quick, and just overall really enjoyed this one, so it was 4 stars for me. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes was something that I wanted to read before the movie came out, which was in, I don't remember when it was, maybe November. And I'm such a Hunger Games fan. I love the original trio, but this one I feel like wasn't really doing it for me, but I could understand how people would really enjoy this one. I just hate Snow so much, so a whole book with him, it's just, I don't really care. So yeah, 3 stars if I hadn't already said. I read Iron Widow next, which I was really excited for, and I hadn't read too much about it. I started this off really thinking it was going to be like a 4 stars, maybe even 4.5 stars, but then I feel like the romance part of this, it was kind of like a romance fantasy sci-fi, but I thought the romance part was just kind of random to me, and I didn't see the connection between the characters that ended up being together, so this one was 3 stars. After that, I read Check and Mate, which is Ali Hazelwood's first YA novel. This one, I did like the concept, I think, but I felt like it was kind of interesting. It was YA considering there were a lot of adult themes in here, and I personally didn't think it was super YA. Of course it was closed door romance, but some other things were still just not really appropriate, I thought, for YA, and maybe a little bit too much chess, which obviously there's going to be chess on it, look at the front, but still too much of that. So 3 stars. Then I read Throne of Glass next, which I just loved this book. It was really good. It wasn't 5 stars for me, but it was like a very strong 4 in my opinion, and I'm so excited to continue this series in 2024. In my delusional brain, I did think I was going to finish in 2023, but I simply did not have the time to get to all of them, but I'll definitely be able to this year, and I'm so excited. I read The Ballad of Never After next, which was super hyped up, and my expectations for this one was like super high, and I feel like I was just a bit let down. I personally thought the romance was not super convincing because the main guy character is just not very nice, honestly, and I don't know why the main girl character would even be enthralled or infatuated with him because there's way better options in my opinion than this guy, but I definitely wouldn't say it's bad or anything. So I did rate it 3 stars for this one. It's just I feel like there's better fantasy romances out there. Then I read some Christmas books, which I feel like by now you probably won't even want to hear me talk about because it's not Christmas anymore. I read Kiss Her Once for Me. I rated this one 2 stars. I didn't like this one. Then I read One Christmas Morning. Also rated this one 2 stars. Yeah, also rated this one 2 stars. Wasn't for me. And then I ended off the Christmas books with It Happened One Christmas. I really enjoyed this one, 4 stars. Powerless was another one of those books I feel like was super hyped up and everyone was talking about it, seemed to love it. And I liked this book, but I thought there were a few gaps that just weren't addressed. Specifically, the reasons why they did the trials. It just wasn't really convincing maybe about why people would want to participate or watch these trials. And in terms of romance, I thought it was okay, but I've definitely read better romances and better romance fantasy, I think. So I did rate this one 3 stars. I was a little bit disappointed with this one, not gonna lie. In December, I was super excited because Heartstopper Volume 5 came out. This one was so cute. I don't think I liked it as much. Well, I definitely did it because I rated this one 4 stars and I rated all the rest of them 5 stars. But this one was still super cute and I love Nick and Charlie. They're just perfect for each other. They have to stay together forever. I finished off the Six of Crows series with Crooked Kingdom. I guess it's a duology, not a series technically. And this one, for whatever reason, felt slow, but there was action going on, but it still felt slow to me. And I thought that there were so many kind of flashbacks of the characters' lives when they were like younger or whatever in the midst of all the action going on. So it was a little bit confusing to me because there would be this very intense action scene and then the character would be thinking and then it'd be like, oh, like back when they were 5, blah 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 happened. I don't mind learning about the characters like that, but just the timing of when we learned those things about the characters felt off to me. So this one was also 3 stars. And then I finished off the year with A Curse for True Love, which this one I didn't expect going into it really liking it that much, just because a lot of people were saying that it's not that great, and I knew we were going to be in a point of view that most people didn't really care about. It was Apollo, which I actually liked being in this point of view. I thought it was interesting. I did want more of Jax maybe, but like I said when I was talking about The Ballad of Never After, I'm not a huge Jax fan, so I didn't really care that much that I didn't get much of Jax's point of view in this one. And I remember pretty early on that I thought I was going to like this one the best out of all of the books in this trilogy, which I feel like actually ended up being true. I think I rated this one, well, you can't do like half or quarter stars on Goodreads, but in my head I think this would be like a 3.25. So I liked it just a little bit better than the other two. But yeah, that is that. Overall for 2023, I feel like I had a good reading year. I wouldn't say it's amazing. I did find some gems in here. I definitely found a few books that I loved so much and will be like my all-time favorites, I think. But I'm hopeful for 2024 I'll find even more of those, because I feel like in general I rate most books like 3 stars, but I want more like 4 stars and 5-star books. So I have some pretty high hopes for that. And I also did want to talk about me starting this new booktube channel, because I do have my other channel which I was posting book stuff on, but I did start that channel off with fashion, random vlogs, clothing reviews, which is just not my niche at all anymore, and it's not what I'm really interested in making videos about. I truly just wanted a channel that was just books and book related content. So that is what this is, and I would really appreciate if you subscribed. I really look forward to making so many book videos for this channel, and I just thought it would make sense to start off the new year with a new channel and my first video for this channel. So thank you so much for watching. I really hoped you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a like, please, and of course subscribe and comment down below if you've read any of these books, maybe what your favorite book is, least favorite. I would love to hear any thoughts you have, and I will see you in a new video coming really soon. Bye guys.